Hello.
Hey, welcome to the stream. Um, welcome to Sketch Fighters. Let's see. Let's just jump right into it. We got co-host Jerry Ma is here today. Jerry.
Hello, everybody.
We also got Courtney,
Hello.
and I think was that Fletch that was,
Last
Hey
second,
guys,
yeah.
how's everybody doing?
and then we have a special guest today, Tyler. Tyler is the publisher of A Wave Blue World. What would you label that as? Independent publisher or?
Yeah, exactly. Independent publisher of comics, graphic novels.
Tyler, you're based in New York?
Yes.
Okay. So I think you guys might be interested in, if you have questions in the chat, feel free to punch that in. Today's stream might be kind of short. I woke up with the runs, so we're going to do a COVID test on stream. Make sure it's not COVID. I think it's the novo virus. But Courtney says the novo virus is very is very bad. Is it?
It's kind of to each their own. It can be bad, but it definitely affects the stomach.
Yeah.
So
Is that what's all the cool kids are having these days? The novo
yeah,
virus.
you don't wash your hands, and then you take those hands and you put them straight in your mouth,
Right.
and then you feel ill for a couple days,
I
and
haven't been
it's
washing my hands
green face
that
food.
much the last. I've been slacking on the COVID. Um,
Protocol.
Cleanliness.
yeah. Uh, I mean, I woke up with the runs, the chills,
Mm.
and sweats and body just aches. Uh, sorry. Okay. Let me do the test. So, because it takes like what 15 minutes. Although really, like
Hmm.
you should know, like once the thing goes through the.
Yeah, it really takes a couple seconds.
Yeah, you can tell like if it's starting to go through the thing. Anyways, how do you get the novel virus?
Through the anus.
You get novel virus by accidentally. I like how they the scientific method, the CDC says accidentally getting tiny particles of feces or vomit from an infected person in your mouth. Like, what if it's not an
That's a
accident,
party right there.
right?
Exactly.
What if it's
You get a
not?
big,
No
big
accidents there.
What if we meant we were just, we wanted to get particles of feces or vomit in your mouth? I haven't done one of these in so long. How do you do this? Everyone is different, too. These COVID tests.
That is true.
Well, let me see. There's all these different parts. I don't remember there being these many different parts. Ay, ay, ay. Well, you wanna, Jerry? You got a slew of questions.
Yeah, so I thought Tyler, thanks for coming on. This is actually our second time trying to get Tyler on. So apologies to you, Tyler, about that.
Sure, yeah.
But for all you guys that might not know or might not be that familiar with Away Blue World comics, I've met Tyler. Sheesh, I'm not even sure how long ago. We were just trying to figure that out, but I believe it was back at Mocha Art Fest, which is next week. Um, but Tyler, it's been pretty cool for me because I would say, or Tyler, is it fair to say that you started off just like as a self-publisher, making your own book at a time, like the way I still am.
Yeah,
But, fast forward to today, and now you have like your own company, and you're pumping out like freaking a gajillion IPs every year. It seems like, and you're like, I don't know, you're leaving guys like me and Ken in the dust.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not a competition.
It is.
It's still a struggle where I'm at, and I mean, I'm much smaller than even some of the other small companies in the industry. I mean, I was just explain it. We really just try to do like 2 series a year, or 2 mini series, and then 2 standalone books as well. Um, so I try to keep the output fairly contained, like not get too crazy and have like a bunch of series going at once. So just like a monthly comic book most of the months out of the year, and then a couple other books. Yeah.
Hey Tyler,
Excuse me.
someone just asked, do you have an Instagram account so that we can put a link to it in the chat?
Yeah, both A Wave Blue World has one, which is just the words written out, A Wave Blue World, and then I'm Tyler _ AWBW.
Let me
I
get
do
the
like
link.
the half, like it's me, but it's also AWBW.
Let me put a link. All right, so I'm putting a link right now in the chat for A Wave Blue World, and I'm going to put one in now for Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, my Instagram is a lot of A Wave Blue World stuff, but then you'll get a video of one of my kids too, or something. Yeah, that'll I mix it in. Some personal and some company stuff.
But yeah, so one reason, I mean, obviously, I'd love to talk to you about comics and just stuff like that. But this chat in particular, this group of people, it's a great group of guys that tune in each week. And a lot of them, if not most of them, are all aspiring creators. So at different levels, some guys are already getting published and doing things. Some guys are just trying to break into the industry.
Mhm.
So I just thought you're like the perfect person for these guys to talk to. Um, just
Yeah.
like, I mean, as a bit, just to give you a couple talking points first before these guys even hit you with questions. What's the best way for someone to approach you with a story?
Well, I don't know that there's.
Is it the old-fashioned way of just searching for you on the Comic-Con floor, or are they supposed
Yeah.
to message you through Instagram, or go through the Wave Blue World website and email you there, or
You can do all of those. I mean, none of that's like the perfect way. Like I said, me personally, I keep a very low output, and I'm already putting together the next sort of like 3 years of stuff. So I work very slowly and only can take on so much at a time, but it's always great to like meet people and discuss ideas, and sometimes it can work out. That's why I don't have like formal submissions open on my website, because I mean I just get inundated with like
uh,
pitches from like everybody all over the place. But that doesn't stop somebody from just reaching out and being like, "Hey, can I send you something?" And I'll just be like, that gives me a bit of a way to be like, sure, I'll take a look, but like no promises type thing. And people have done that on Facebook, Instagram, emailed me, coming up to me at a convention. You
here's
know,
a question for you, Tyler.
Okay.
Do you focus on a specific genre, or is it open-ended?
I leave it pretty open ended. Find that yeah, I mean, I have like a certain like, I don't know, like feel of the book, but it's not really genre. I wouldn't say it's like I won't do fantasy or sci-fi or horror or things like that. Superheroes, it's like, I mean, maybe I do the least of that just because it's kind of a saturated market. But really, I'm just looking for something that's a little bit offbeat. Um, something that talks about you know like society and culture on kind of a global way. I mean, that can be pretty broad, but just trying to say something about the world and humanity. Like something more into the message, whether it's allegory or not, than just like popcorn fun. Nothing wrong with that, but like I feel like there's a lot of that, so I'm just looking for what distinguishes, our books from anything else.
Tyler, do you have because of this submissions issue? Like a lot of times,
Yeah,
I get people that send me emails or DMs saying that, "Oh, I got this cool idea for this story. Would
yeah.
you like to?" And then I would have to actually stop reading it, and I would basically delete it, and I would tell the person I can't read any unsolicited material.
Yeah.
Mostly because of like potential litigation. You know,
Hmm.
a lot of times, like when I first was at Disney during
Yeah.
the employee orientation, they had specifically instructed us that if we were to get any kind of emails or letters that started with "I have an idea for this," for something, that we would have to literally stop reading, put the rest of the letter or email into a intercompany envelope and ship it to legal. Um,
Hmm.
Mainly because if you read it, it could sit in the back of your head, and maybe in a year or two or later on, somehow come out in some kind of form unintentionally. Um,
Right. Or even if it didn't, someone can always claim that
right.
it did, and they're like, oh, that's that, because that happens a lot too. It's like, people have ideas that are similar, and if the thing is, if all somebody has is an idea, that's so broad that it can like come out in so many forms. So if anybody's just out there claiming they have this great idea, they're probably going to see like 10 things out there that are like it. So I get that from that side. I don't work for a bigger company, which I guess allows, some sort of leeway in that way. The other thing is, I mean, I do pick up material, so I will entertain, some of it. It's not, I don't pick up very many. Um, but I guess that's just sort of the risk that I take, that yeah, I guess, some people have pitched me stuff that's like, well, that's too similar to what we're already doing,
Hmm.
and so I guess they can claim that I read their pitch and put it into this other one or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. I guess I'd have to face that down the road. But I mean, my impression is like ideas are so different than actually doing something
Hmm.
that I mean, ideas are cheap. I mean, unless they've actually like put together enough material and sent it in to get copywritten or published it or something like that, then they don't really own anything, right? Um, Anybody can sue you for anything if they just hire a lawyer, but
Right.
it doesn't mean they have a good case. So yeah, I know that can get messy, and it's the easiest, especially if you're a big company. The easiest thing you can do is tell your employees who aren't. It isn't their job to take submissions, to just delete that stuff
Yeah.
because.
And it's hard, I think, for aspiring writers to really,
Mhm.
I interact with a few, and they're always like, how can you break into the business, because, or how can you get stuff published? Because as an artist, you can just show a portfolio, and
Mhm.
you could, a trained eye through looking at a portfolio can see if this person is qualified to draw something professionally.
Yeah.
And then the rest is like based on scheduling or delivery and reliability and how they work together. But as a
Yep.
writer, I've always told people that this might not be the most professional of advice, but you really have to kind of network and befriend people
Mhm.
in order to kind of be able to leak them ideas that you might have, especially if it's like with pre-published characters already for
Yeah.
like major companies, and or if you were to self-publish. There are also a lot of, I think, young writers that are afraid to share their ideas because they're afraid that a company would come and steal their idea. So, is there any advice that you would give, um, like an aspiring writer, to? I guess you kind of
Well, if
answered it.
well, if they want to write comics, it's going to be really hard to get a job just off of a typed script, kind of thing. What they need to do is get an artist to draw, whether it's an 8-page short or a sample or a single issue, um, because that's the only way to judge the writing, and the more that they're able to do, like if a writer can work with an artist on like just like a 4-issue mini series, um, and that comes together well enough. I think that tells publishers a lot, that this writer cannot just write like a fancy pitch idea, but can follow through and write issue after issue and write a complete story, and they can see it. That's why so many writers that have made their way up the chain, you know, Marvel, DC, whatever, Image Titles, they started off with either a web comic or a 4-issue mini series, something that's a little more sustained than just, I have this great idea and I can write the opening few scenes. And that might mean, you know, you just have to hire an artist or convince them to work for you, you know, if they're breaking in too. But the problem with working with an artist that's breaking in is that they might not have the chops to tell your story very well. And so much of your writing is going to depend on how it's told by that artist. I mean, the artist is doing the storytelling. And when you're writing a comic, that's really what you're writing. You're writing for an artist to draw it. So you want the best, at least the best storyteller, you know, the artist that has storytelling abilities as you can find to do your story and get that out some way, somehow.
Yeah, I think it's
That's going to be so much in any sort of portfolio or pitch that you try to throw at somebody. If you're like, I did this full web series or 4-issue mini series and it's out, and, you know, somebody can see that, that's going to help so much more than anything else.
Have you guys also ventured into digital or you know, webtoons or anything along the lines of that, or mainly sticking with more traditional, you know, paper, print?
Well, we do digital just in terms of like digital delivery of a print comic, you know, like Comixology, Kindle, few of these other sites that pop up, you know, you can get your catalog on there and just sort of, you know, put your material on their readers. We do that. That's different than like webtoons where you're specifically creating like a web comic and do the you know, the strip or the page in their format, and it's meant to be read online. This is more of just, you know, I upload the PDF and somebody can either read it on their web browser or their app reader or whatever, flip through the pages. Like Comixology used to be really good. I don't now. I think they're not so great, but their own.
This Fletcher's boss.
Fletcher, you work for them?
They were one of my clients for the last couple of years, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how I guess we're kind of all going on different, because one, I hear something and then it leads me to think of another question. But like, did you have any kind of fallout from the shifting of, I mean, are the books that you sell to stores, are they offered on Diamond, or is it one of the other newer distributors, or how does that?
Yeah. Right now, that's actually a really interesting topic right now, and I'm keeping updated as best I can. Right now, I am just with Diamond.
Okay.
I signed an exclusive, and I had a chance to, you know, it's at the start of the year, so I had a chance to jump ship or whatever, but I didn't, just because I still had to like figure a lot of things out, and like Lunar popped up and Penguin Random House is doing it now, but I'm not set up with them yet. I'm hoping Diamond holds it together.
Mm-hmm.
I know they've been losing companies and thought that's going to continue. I don't know if they're going to stay afloat, if they're going to keep treading water or what. But I'm with them, and I'm a little bit nervous about that, because who knows what could happen with them. Or they could continue moving along, but if they do, I still want to be able to move over to Lunar and possibly Universal Distribution, which is a Canadian distributor that's expanding into the US in 2024. And they've got a really good reputation, and they've been doing it for years in Canada, and they just want to like expand. So yeah, I'm hoping to get my books in more catalogs, because I mean, retailers have more options now, which is good, but then sometimes they might just be like, I don't want to deal with Diamond, I'm just going to order through Lunar or this and that, and if you don't have your book in their catalog, it's less likely that store is going to order your comic. I mean, I'm
Right.
dealing with that now. We have these comics coming out, and I'll talk to a store, and they'll be like, "Yeah, we just don't order from Diamond anymore," you know.
Wow.
You know, and then like, oh,
Let
I
me
guess
what's the benefit of the exclusivity with Diamond? Is it more percentage points for you, or better discounts for the Diamond customer? How does the exclusivity benefit you?
And also,
it's
just before you answer that, just again, we're on the internet, so everything is forever.
oh yeah, no, totally, yeah. Um, yeah, there isn't much. I mean, my discount could be worse. I'm
Right.
operating at a 40% discount,
Yeah.
um, which is pretty standard, but it's no benefit. But also, like, I know there are small publishers that get less than that, get like 35 or 37% of cover price, which can be tough,
Yeah.
you know, to make ends meet when you're getting that much
Yeah.
off of a $4 comic or whatever.
Right. I
Um,
guess games that you'd probably have to weigh the benefits, weigh what uh, those percentage points would be as compared to the exposure you get with like other distributors as well. More of a broader scale than limiting yourself just to one distributor, right?
yeah, but I mean, the other thing is like, yeah, they can try to like give you a nice offer if you're exclusive, but also if you've got other options, that's some bargaining, you know, like why should if I do get with other distributors and they're doing better for me,
Yeah.
then I go back to them and be like, look, I don't, you need to just do this for me as well, or, um, I don't know, I don't even need to go with them. Um, so yeah, I mean, I haven't really entered that world. I'm hoping to get into that in 2024 more. Um, everything will have its pros and cons. I'm sure it'll be a lot more work sending solicits to, different distributors and organizing all of that stuff. But I just don't want to be stuck in one company that, who knows what happens with them. So
Do you go
Right.
to those retailer summits that they have at the end of the
yeah, I was
year?
just at Comics Pro a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was great.
So that
Got to talk to a lot of stores and talk to these other distributors as well.
Can you explain a little bit about what that is? Because maybe not everyone here
Yes,
listening knows what that is.
Comics Pro is a retailer organization, and they run an event, and it was in Pittsburgh this year, just a couple of weeks ago. And they invite publishers and distributors. So it's not a fan show at all. Nobody's showing up as a fan. It's not even really a creator show, unless you're specifically tied to sell, publishing. It's pretty much just retailers, publishers, distributors, and they get together and they have roundtables and presentations and meals and stuff. There's not like a big show floor. There's not people running around. There's nobody in costumes, you know. But it is all just about comics, and Image will do their big presentation with video and PowerPoint and stuff, and the different distributors will go. But it's just a great way to meet retailers and talk to them about what they see from their side of things and what would help them and what would help them order more of your comic. So I found it really helpful. I thought it was great just to be there, just so that like retailers could see like the person behind the company, and that I'm a real person and I'm just doing this out of the love of it all. And I've been around for a while and I'm going to stick around, but also just to get some good suggestions from them about what to do to get your comic ordered in shops.
do you ever see any creators at these things at the Comics Pro?
There were a few creators. I mean, some of them, like me, were like, both ends. It's like, well, we write, but we also like publish, or like they're like sometimes a company's marketing person will also be writing something. But then some of the companies did bring in a couple of their writers. Who was that guy? Lunar brought in Josh Williamson. Is that his name? He's writing a Superman comic book now. He was there signing. The guy who wrote Radiant Black for Image was there talking about his stuff. So someone would be in just pitching to retailers and stuff and being
Right.
like, "This is what's upcoming," and just supporting them in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Ty,
always
there's a question for you.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, we got time.
feel free not to answer if this is too sensitive, but really curious if, as a publisher, you own the rights to your published works or if the creators have some ownership.
Well, I do it really cleanly in both directions. It's either my property, like Mezzo, which I created, or The Orphan King, and then I just hire the artists on a work for hire basis, right? So that's just one way. Or I'll just pick up a title to publish, like Crash and Troy or Tower, which is out now, which is just a publishing agreement, and I don't own any of the IP. So I
So
do
you're
it
one
very
of you're one of the good guys, I would say.
Yeah, well, doing my own stuff does sort of allow me that, I guess you could call it freedom, or I'm just not looking to make money off of an option for someone else's thing or something like that. Um, I have an agent who's shopping my stuff in, um, Hollywood, but he just takes my stuff, and the people from Tower have their own guys, and they do their own thing, right? And so it's not mixed like that. So on one hand, they realize, like, if you do go with a company and they take part of your IP, you'll know that you have that company trying to shop your property, so that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to know going in signing that contract, like, because I feel like a lot of these companies just pick things up because they know the miniseries isn't going to make any money, but they're going to hope to make money off of the selling.
Netflix deal.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a great like, I don't think that's good for the business. But but also I understand sometimes that, like, if a company will go into Hollywood and get you an option, I mean, are you going to be upset that you're splitting it
Yeah.
with
Let me
So it's really just more about the results and how they handle it.
let me take a quick moment right now to say hello to everybody in chat. Racer GRX, Mr. Joshua, DYL Pickle, good to see you guys. Lurky Lurk is here, subscribe with Prime. Thank you. Resub for 22 months. We have an international crowd, Tyler. Lurky Lurk's in Canada, our northern neighbor. DYL Pickle's down in San Diego. I forgot where Racer GRX is. Kevin P. West, good to see you from Detroit. Courtney is Superior Court. Yojimbo's our moderator. So Tyler, if you ever have any questions about anything, Yojimbo, just ask Yojimbo and he'll be able to answer it without even looking it up.
Yeah, Jim's point saying something about companies will option an IP so someone else can't make it. Yeah, I believe that's called catch and kill, from what I've been learning. They specifically pick it up so it won't be made.
Yeah, that's happened before. Golf Boy Sunday, good to see Golf Boy is also from the northwest, north of the border. James Quo, good to see James Quo. Beef Skeleton's here. What's up, Way? Way, I started on your sketch, but man, it's black paper. It's tough. UJ is all the way from Taiwan. Good to see UJ. How are you doing, my friend? Sean is here, but Sean is... So the COVID test, I think it's negative, right? It's been 15 minutes. That red line is pretty strong, so... I don't know if you saw earlier, I was putting the stick, I put the wrong end in the stick in my nose earlier. And it really made me like sneeze all over the place. Dr. Midnight is here, good to see Dr. Midnight. Jay Dang, good to see Jay Dang, all the way from Tokyo. Jay Dang's in Tokyo with his family tonight.
Yeah, he's on a world tour right now. It's awesome.
He was just at Tsukiji. I think is he in Disney? Or he's about to go to Disney?
He's been all over, I can't tell anymore.
Resub for 32 months. Thank you so much. Jay Dang, hope the family's doing well. Let's see who else. Golf Boy. Okay, he's asked the question. UJ is actually a really good artist too, Tyler. So I know he's been doing some independent work. And we got a bunch of artists and writers on here. Simple Man Tony from Iowa. Tony's also, Simple Man is... trying to get his comic book portfolio. He wants to draw comic books, so that's another guy that you might want to have a look at. Estefone, and Burr, Good to see Esther Foday and Burr. So, yeah, I mean, how long did you guys, Tyler, how long did you start, how long ago did you start this publishing? And, where do you see yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started when I was still at art school at the Kubert School.
Mm-hmm.
The name actually came from an assignment that I was doing for Joe Kubert, where we kind of had to do our self-published thing and had to come up with a company name and a logo and everything like that. And that's when I came up with the name, and I was being a little bit silly, Brave New World, and did the twist, A Wave Blue World. Um, um, and so I just started working on that, and I kind of liked the idea. And Joe was helping me do some layouts, because the first series I did during my final year of the Kubert School was Adrenaline, and that was the first series I published, and had him critique layouts and things like that. And so I came out of school again, just doing self-publishing a series. It took me 3 years to do that first series and collect it into a book, and then it took me another 2 years to do the next one. And so yeah, I went from being just publishing one title over a couple of years to start doing some anthologies through Kickstarter and funding through that digital, and just kind of grew from there a little bit at a time. Kind of reached a point I started to expand, maybe a little too fast, or maybe it just wasn't right for us in 2019, and that just had me pulling my hair out and burning me out. I was like, I had to bring it down a notch from there a little bit and just get a little bit more comfortable in my own sort of lane and what I wanted to do, and find the right.
Well, Tyler,
yeah.
since you the Adrenaline Rush book,
Yeah,
you wrote and drew that, correct?
I wrote and did the layout pencil breakdowns,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Jim
Um,
finished it digitally. Yeah.
What made you because I know you did the American Terrorist, but was that next American Terrorist?
Yeah.
And you hired Andy McDonald to draw that.
Yeah.
What made you make that switch to be fuck it, I'm gonna get an artist to do this.
Well,
I'm just gonna write it.
My daughter was born, and it was just too much work.
Ah.
Yeah. So Maddie was born after I think as I was finishing Adrenaline, and I always meant to go back to it. It was supposed to, American Terrorist was supposed to be my break book, where I was just writing and someone else was going to draw it, and then I was going to write and draw the next one, and maybe alternate like that. But I've just, with the company getting bigger and us having 2 kids now, and I've just never really gotten back to it. But I do want to get back to it with the Orphan King, and write and draw, at least pencil that one again. But it's just tough to find time in the day for all this stuff. Trying to publish, trying to write, trying to be a good dad, and everything like that around the house. So it's just time. It's hard to find time for everything you want to do in life. So sometimes you just have to pick and choose. But working with Andy was great. You guys all know Andy pretty well. I didn't even know him before, because I had talked to a few people that I knew from the Kubert School, and nothing was really working out. So I was just like, man, I'm just gonna try to open up, my scope of who I was looking for. And I was looking through my comics, my indie comics, and I pulled out NYC Mac. And I
just celebrated the anniversary of that book. Sheesh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nice. On the Image anniversary book, or whatever it's called.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So those guys did their first NYC Mech story in 20 years or something like that.
Wow. Oh, I gotta check that out. I totally missed that, because I picked that series up when that came out. And so, yeah, I looked through it. I was like, after looking through all my comics, trying to find an artist, I was like, yeah, this is the style that I want. And so I pretty much just cold emailed Andy. It's like, I have this idea, this concept, and I think you'd be great for it. And, he jumped on board, and we did it.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How much would you say, how important is it for you to be at every convention?
Oh,
How do you choose the ones that you like?
definitely not important to be at every one. I think it's becoming less so, before the internet like really blew up and so many other things like Kickstarter and um all these different, not just social media, but YouTube channels and Twitch streams and things like that. Now I just think it's a balance. Um, it's good to get out there and talk to people and meet people that way, but it can be a lot of work to do a lot of shows, a lot of traveling, and I think it mostly just depends on your tolerance for it. Um, you
Yeah.
know, if that's not your thing, put your focus in something else, social media or Discord or something.
Yeah, we got Fletch here who freaking goes to, like, I don't know, Fletch, how many shows do you do a year?
Since I started my business, probably about a dozen shows,
Yeah.
but it's been crazy. Hey, Tyler, tell me about your experience with the Kubert School. I know there were people here on the chat that had some questions about it and wanted to know more. What was your take on the Kubert School? You got to work with Joe and some of the staff there.
Yeah. Well, I went all the way back from 2003 to 2006, I guess. Yeah. So, it's been a while, my experience for what it is now. Yeah, I had the Joe and his two sons, Adam and Andy. So I was lucky to get those three. Um, Now Emma, Andy's daughter Emma is teaching. She has an image title, a couple
Yeah.
image titles. So yeah, I really liked it. I mean, there's different art schools and they all have their different takes. This was definitely very focused on, the comics, sort of bent on it. Not that people didn't go into animation or illustration from there, but you really like, there's no like beating around the bush that like we're here to draw superheroes or action or this and that and panels. It's not a fine art bent at all, which I liked.
Right.
Because I mean that just was my focus. Like I wasn't just art for the sake of art. I was like, no, I think I want to get into to comic books and telling stories and things like that. But within that, it's a very diverse education. I mean, it will teach you everything from scripts to layouts to pencils, inks, painting techniques, lettering techniques, production, all of that stuff, the business of it, some marketing of it, what you got to do there, a lot of digital stuff, so
Key for
yeah,
the fundamentals.
resources.
It's good. Yeah, I think it's key for the fundamentals, right? Learning about all those aspects, all the different things that make up comic and part of the industry.
Yeah, there are so many things that you just have to know. And you can do it. I know some artists is like, oh, I can read this in a book. And I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of books. And you can do that, if you want, sure, and that's fine. I'm not saying not to. I mean, but you've got to be very self-motivated. You've got to be self-motivated regardless, because you're only getting as far as the work you put in. But you need those resources. And if you want to kind of collect them yourselves with books and meeting people at conventions, I guess you can do it that way, or you can go to a school and have teachers who've been professionals and done this as well. I mean, it's all just about using the resources, collecting and using the resources some way.
All right.
Maybe Bernard, actually, you want to tell us what you're drawing?
I'm still working on this Akira commission. I started this last week, so I'm trying to get it done before.
So you've been giving it your 100% attention since last week.
WonderCon is this week, so I gotta. Oh, well, I haven't touched this since the last stream, so I gotta, get going on it. So.
Is it being delivered at?
What is that?
Are you delivering this at WonderCon? Is it going to be picked up?
If I can finish it, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm just pulling up reference here on the right. You can see on the screen. I haven't been able to work as much the last all day today.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Mhm.
Because I'm kind of curious. How do you balance as an artist who takes like work for hire, work for companies, and but also does commissions? How do you balance that? Do you have any rules of thumb for like, do you just take on commissions that like and working on them? Like, how do you balance that work with like company work for hire work, both in terms of taking them on and also getting them done?
Uh, well, like I try not to. Since I was working on a monthly book, I try not to do too many commissions. Mainly, I do them when I'm at a show, at a convention. But then some of the times I don't, I'm unable to finish the
Hmm.
commissions at the show. So then, that's when it becomes kind of a problem where once I get back into my studio, I have regular work, a monthly book to jam on. So it becomes, a lot of times this sits around like this Akira commission has been I've had since San Diego last year.
Mm.
So, and the Spider-Man one was from London show from a couple years ago. So they kind of sit around, and then the longer they sit, the more guilty I feel. The more guilty I
Yeah.
feel, I start adding stuff to it that before it was just going to be um, a regular drawing. Now there's like backgrounds, and so it's just it's not a good cycle.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was just wondering about. So you try to just take them at conventions and not like add
Yes.
to it, but
So a lot of
yeah.
the commissions I do now at conventions are just pencil head sketches, um,
Hmm.
because they're fairly easy to get through, and I won't be sitting on top of them. This one being a fully inked one. Uh, I was very hesitant to take it on, but um,
Your convention list. Do you have a set amount? Like, all right, I want to do 10 sketches today, or uh, anything
no,
more than that?
I actually
Do
try not to do any work. I mean, for some artists, they like to do commissions at shows. Um, it's a revenue generator.
hmm
I just try to sell the original art that I have,
Mm.
and not take on too many commissions at a show. And everybody's different, so um, and then everybody's rates are different. Rates continue to go up, so it becomes I don't know. It's a little. There's no set rule. Um, some of it is just gauging, like WonderCon coming up. I have a few people that have already emailed me about um, doing commissions. Uh, I I don't know how to. I tell them like I have to wait and see. Um, depending on how I feel, because it's
yeah,
just there's regular work that's the comic book work. So a lot of times when I see a comic book artist, a pro artist doing a lot of commissions, to me it tells me that he's not working,
Hmm.
um, because it's just nearly impossible to be doing a bunch of commissions and regular monthly work at the same time. So, um, and then the last thing I want to do after drawing the regular book is to work on something else. So um, it becomes a catch-22. So
Yeah. Do you find that pay is like equal or one is one better than the other? Because I mean, commissions and original art are really kind of moved up in the last couple of years. I'm just curious if it makes
well,
for a good.
the pay, yeah, I would say um, for an 11 by 17, you're definitely getting paid more than the print rate, the page rate. But I mean, the page rate is, you're doing a book, so you have to kind of weigh, because the book also has royalties. The book also has a different kind of prominence. I mean, there's guys that just do shows and just do commissions. So, I forgot this guy. I forgot his name. I just was looking at his stuff earlier. There's one guy, a pro guy, that just goes to conventions now, just doing commissions, and just does. I mean, I think for a whole year he traveled and just did shows.
I think Mike.
What was that, Fletch?
Was it Mike McCone?
Yeah, Mike McCone, right. I was just looking at his stuff. He just released like 99 new sketches. And that's a viable, way of making money. So there's many ways of generating income, but it's very difficult for me to do the regular work and then after I'm done want to sit down and draw again for someone else.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I think you make a good point. Like if you're trying to work consistently and do books and get like the royalties afterwards and everything, like even if you don't get paid as much, like per page, especially when you have to do like this, I don't know, a lot of panels, small one, probably won't even sell over original art, but it's part of the process of getting the bigger picture, done.
And the royalties, they're not as much as Sean Chen's royalties, of course, but they are in perpetuity. So, I'm still getting royalties for books that I drew 10, 15, 20 years ago, and it all adds up. Whereas this is kind of like a one-off thing, and I guess the thing is that the books itself, I think, tend to have a little bit more glory, in that it's an actual published book, right? So, doing a commission is just, there's beautiful commissions out there, and there's some commissions that you really, really that you might remember for a very long time. But once a book's in print, I don't think there's really any kind of anything beating that. But to each their own. I think I know those guys that really they can have a commission list as long as they want to keep them busy.
Yep. The prices they're getting, I can see why they're doing it. I think just draw the same superhero in an action pose over and over again and get like thousands of dollars.
Right. And commissions too, it's not storytelling. I mean, there is storytelling in the commissions, but a lot of it is just standard poses or look, there's a lot of beautiful stuff out there. Where I think in an era in comics where there's just so much like really good work out there, whether it's commissions or published work, or and the exposure to all of the work is amazing too, because everybody can post them online and share, and you can see all the beautiful stuff being created. I think some of the we started, Sean and I, along with Tommy Lee, John Paul Leon, and Trevor Gorin, we started going to shows together, and Jerry ended up being, part of our de facto group, was that we're going to these shows to kind of hang out at conventions, because we all lived in different parts of the country. And so while you're there, you might as well do a few commissions to make some money, or sell some artwork. But for me, it was really just like hanging out with friends and getting to meet, readers and fans, and kind of connect with people. you get a good gauge of the business of the industry at shows sometimes. You can see at every show there's different groups of artists that kind of pop up. I can remember, like, going to a New York Comic Con maybe like 6-7 years ago, and an artist just came on the scene with a particular book at DC, and her line is like down the hall, and last year it wasn't that long. So and it's not a knock, it's just you kind of see like different trends in the business. You can see what art style or what artist is popular, what's resonating with people. It's and some of that, it's not necessarily that their books sell more, or some do, but also like art collectors. There a lot of some art collectors don't even buy the books. Or Fletch and I know a guy that, he might buy some books, but he doesn't even read them. He's just collecting them. So like and he's a great appreciator of art. So he will buy a cover or something for the artist, and he'll buy the original artwork and spend hundreds of dollars on that stuff. But he's not reading the books. So there's a different layering or categories of people in this industry.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I've always been, I kind of grew up like collecting and reading as like being like the same thing. It was the 80s. But like I don't because I'm really into the collecting thing, maybe more than like some people who are primarily like reader creators. I just sort of love it. I love getting those first issues or the rare covers or whatever. I just get a kick out of it. But I never really understood when people were like getting them but they weren't actually like reading the series or even like appreciating the artwork. Was just a collectible for them. To each their own, but I'm just like, that's weird. I just found that a little weird.
Because you go to shows, there'll be artists that do extremely well at conventions, and they charge really high rates, but their books don't sell really well, or they're not a guaranteed success. You put them on a book, so it's a hair scratching kind of thing. I still haven't been able to pinpoint exactly what it is, and I don't think there ever really is a formula. This is, some guys just have a magical touch to their work. Some of the work is not technically better than others, but it's just a combination of certain factors that kind of elevate it to a particular level of frenzy. It's just, there's this. It's really weird. So, I don't know if that answers your question at all.
I saw some ridiculous prices though from certain artists at conventions for like the smallest, couple stroke Sharpie sketch, going for a couple $100s, and they're not necessarily like a published artist that's been really doing, work, getting relatively work all the time, but I just thought that was very surprising. But I think a lot of guys that I've seen that have, been in the industry have fans like Bernard. You go year after year and you steadily increase your prices, and they're still relatively low from what I would think. And I think part of it might be you don't want to overcharge your fans, and in the end they're going to be worth something, so these original pieces, people want, have their own ideas of what they want to draw, which I think is really interesting because they're always, they can be super specific. Like, I want Superman to be doing something interesting.
Oh, you
And
get yeah. I mean, Courtney brings up a thing where there's guys that we've met on the circuit that are collecting artwork, that are collecting rather specific
Hubba hubba artwork.
hubba hubba artwork, and I mean, I've done a few of those, and like at first, and it's like, ugh, afterwards you just feel like, I don't know, you have to take a shower afterwards.
Yeah.
No, I need to hear about that one. Which one is that one?
Oh, there's a few. But I say it's part of the
Share a
business,
story.
huh? It's part of the business.
I was at one con, and a guy approached me and asked me if I was okay drawing X-rated artwork, and then he handed me over his sketchbook, and I just looked at him like he was crazy. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, who in their right mind would do that? I opened up the sketchbook.
Sean Chen.
The first page I opened was Sean Chen. Sugar Sean Chen.
Oh. What was it?
I can't even remember, but I remember just cackling to myself.
A hot robot woman with a gorilla?
It was just funny to me. Like, that was the first thing I opened the book to. I saw Sean's drawing.
Wow. I was just guessing, and I was just making a joke.
That's hilarious.
But sorry, I had to restart my computer, so I came in mid-conversation. I don't know what you guys were talking before I heard the hubba hubba artwork.
Yeah, so, look, I mean, at the end of the day, we're drawing comic books for a living. So, who is complaining about anything, right? It's a really like a childhood dream come true. So, being able to go to conventions, I remember as a fan, as a young teenager, going to my first few conventions, and meeting the artists and wanting to be one of the guys to sit behind the tables. It's a tremendous honor. So.
Bernard, was it an honor to draw 2 Jenna Jameson books, as your Jimbo says?
Yes, only one Jenna Jameson book though.
What?
Hubba hubba.
I need to Google.
Actually, well, yeah, 2, I guess. The second one was a parody of the first one. Yeah, so I worked on the Jenna Jameson autobiography. My buddy Neil Strauss, who ghost wrote the book, he had me draw a few chapters in comic book format, and so that was a lot of fun. And like the Lucy Liu story, I parlayed that into like, hey, it would be better if I met her in person. I could kind of like get a because we were looking at pictures. I said if I met her in person, I could sketch her a little bit in person, and that would really help me capture her likeness. So I was able to secure a meeting at a photo shoot where she was just walking around basically naked the entire afternoon, nonchalantly. So.
Lucy Liu was?
No. Jenna Jameson. Lucy Liu was at her house. She was dressed formally.
Not Jenna Jameson's house. Lucy Liu's own house. Just to
No, it was
clarify.
Jenna Jameson at Lucy Liu's house.
Are you serious?
Is there any more?
For a couple minutes.
Huh?
This is what happens.
Yeah.
I was gone for a couple minutes, and
Is there any more questions from chat?
Hey, I got a question for Tyler. What are you most looking forward to the books coming out. What are you most proud of?
That broke up a lot. Sorry, can you just ask that again?
That's my internet. I said, what are you looking forward to as far as what books you have coming out and from your line, and what are you most proud of? Top four titles you're most proud of that you've published.
Whew.
Yeah. Wait, Tyler. Before you answer that, just to preface, Fletch is dialing in from 1995 on one of those 14.4 modems.
Wait, hold on.
He's using AOL.com, so
it may have been. You guys heard my question. It may have been Tyler's internet, not mine.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it was yours.
yeah, he's chiming in from an AOL.com chat room.
It's AOL Red. It's pretty new.
Yeah, well, to answer your question, we have the series Tower coming out now that I'm super proud of. That's great. The second issue comes out tomorrow. It's a 5-issue series, and that'll run monthly. I think that's really cool. I'm excited for that. There was a series before that, which I think I mentioned, Mezzo, which I did 2 volumes of, and the 3rd volume will come out later this year. Definitely super proud of that. That's been a lot of put a lot into that. Really happy with all of that, and like the 3rd volume too, which is being drawn now. I'm excited. I don't know. You want me to? Well, you said 4 specifically. It's so hard. I mean, there's so many different things. I mean, there's the series that I wrote, which I'm of course more involved with. There's lots of anthologies. We did the All We Ever Wanted, the Broken Frontier anthology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody Hell looks great. I just scrolled through a couple of pages of that. That looks really good.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I like to not take on too much at a time, is I really want whatever I put out to be, high quality and really well done, not rushed, not any corners cut, because once it's a book, it's out there, and it's, you can't change it afterwards, so might as well put the time in, before you print it, you send it off to print. For me, nothing's worse than feeling as if I could have done better. You got to move on at some point, obviously, but I just don't want to feel as if I could have done better if I just given it a little bit more time.
What did you want to be when you were a kid?
I actually think comic, creator was pretty early on. I think maybe this is a common thing. I think I wanted to be like an astronaut at one point, just because I thought space travel. Because I thought it was going to be more like Star Wars than it is now. I'm glad I didn't go in that direction, because it's like it hasn't really advanced very much. We're not flying around the galaxy. So that's more in the comic book. So I went the right direction. I wanted to be a teacher, and was a teacher for a little bit. But I think that actually came after wanting to be, I think I wanted to be a comic book artist and creator first, and then I was like, for a brief time, I was like, oh, get real, do a real job, and got to college. It's like, all right, I'm going to concentrate on getting my teaching degree. Did that for a couple of years, but I was just left pretty unsatisfied, and that's when I went to the Hubert School, and went in that direction. So yeah, I think because I started buying comics off the spinner rack when I was 4 or 5 years old, and was just always enamored with this kind of storytelling, the combination of the art and these stories. So yeah, it's pretty much been a lifelong passion.
Well,
what conventions are you going to be at this year?
I'm doing a couple smaller shows. Ithacon in Ithaca, New York is at the end of April. Then there's CradleCon that's in the Aviation Museum out in Long Island at the end of May.
Right.
and then I'm going to do Heroes Con in June. And that's pretty much it for me. My wife has her first novel coming out at the end of July, so she's got to do a lot of
Awesome.
writing and tours. So I didn't sign up for Baltimore and New York Comic Con this year because I didn't know what I'm sure her touring schedule will be pretty intense.
Racco has a question.
Okay.
Professor Racco, what is the best way to pitch already finished books?
Well, I mean, if you have the books finished and you have like the PDF file, like getting them up somewhere or just linking to them, whether you have them in Dropbox file or whatever. I mean, that's always good to be like, well, this is finished. You can kind of make your choice. Makes the choice a lot easier, the decision a lot easier. Or you can just get them out yourself, Kickstart it or just print them themselves, and then they're out there, and you can use that as like a jumping platform. Like, here's my published series, and use that to pitch your next one.
Have you kickstarted books before or no?
Yeah, I was mostly doing the anthologies. Those are kind of easier because you got lots of people like contributing to it, so lots of people promoting it. And I'm scared to kickstart something that's just me, and then it feels like too much pressure.
Right.
Make my dream come true. So, but yeah, I mean, you can do it though. I mean, just get a lot of stuff together ahead of time, lots of artwork, and just set the goal for what you need to make that happen. Don't undersell yourself too much and have all these expenses that you can't cover. But on the other hand, like, don't make this goal higher than it needs to be, because if you're still just building your name, it's going to be hard to raise money. I think sometimes people see like the big money on Kickstarter and think, oh, I'm going to raise 10, 20,000, whatever it is. But there's just so many projects all the time that, like, just because a couple of them, hit big, much like you were saying with the artists, you don't really know what the formula is. Some of them will hit big, and that momentum, it snowballs, right? Like, when something does go big, it goes really big. But then most of them, 90% of them, just sort of slowly tick along, and you got to promote yourself just every day. So they're hard work, but it is nice to get that money in advance, and people that are willing to pledge at a time, and then you can, pay your artist or whatever you need to do, the printing, and get a book out. And it's a great way, like, even though it's lots of individual mailing, like, with like Dead Beats and stuff, I had to mail like 800 individual packages, which is just crazy. But on the other hand, you're reaching directly out to 800, different people, and getting a book right in their hands. So
I have a hard-hitting question, and you don't have to give specific numbers, but what would you say someone that wanted to self-publish their own work? What would you say that they would need to estimate saving up, or initial costs? I mean, I guess that does vary depending on your print run, depending on the size of the book.
Also, if you're drawing it yourself or hiring someone.
That's what I was going to say. The first question is creator costs, and how much you're able to do that yourself. And, are you doing that all yourself? Are you hiring an artist? Are you hiring a colorist and a letterer? That's going to be the most expensive initial cost, especially since you have to pay that, and even before it's done. I mean, sometimes you start paying an artist, and you've got all this money going out, and, it's still going to take another 2 years to be finished. So you really have to, have the money in advance. So that'll be the big question, whether you're paying that or not. And, that can range, 100, 150, 200, per page, get all that stuff done. But once you've got that material together, I guess the next question is, can you prep production files to send to printer? Because it's not as easy, just a TIFF file or a PDF isn't necessarily going to get you there. Some of these small printers are getting better at helping you out with things like that, but you might have have to hire a pre-press guy, just to put print files like ready to go, make sure they're the right resolution and bleed and everything like that. Um, and then print runs, yeah, I mean, don't start too big. I know it gets tempting to print a lot because the unit price goes down and it can suck when you're like having
And you really think you're going to sell a lot more than you
you
will.
don't you're just gonna have these leftover comics. It's gonna be so hard. Like, it's fine. Just spend the money to, buy a smaller one. Better just spend that money, even though it's less, and you're like, oh, but I can get 3,000 for just a little bit more, and things like that. It's like, yes, that's true, but like, start small. If you haven't made a comic book yet, and you haven't sold one yet, I mean, go to either these print on demands or these other ones like comics experience, or is that what it's called? I'm forgetting some of these.
I actually am in the middle of getting 2 books printed right now.
Yeah.
So I could probably answer that question pretty
Yeah.
immediately.
Good. Do it.
In terms of cost. I will say that paper prices have catapulted up. I mean,
yeah.
it's so much more expensive printing. So I'm reprinting my Dim Sum Gang book because I did what Tyler advised, which is go with a small amount. Whereas I used to print thousands of books, and I'm now sitting on 1,000 books, which I don't even bring with me to conventions anymore. And I don't even put it up on my web store or anything. So I don't even know what I'm doing with these books now. But the Dim Sum Gang book I printed last year, and I only made a couple hundred of them. Right now, and since the convention thing is starting for me at least next week, I have a batch of them coming in again. I don't know, just 300 or something. And I think when I first printed it, I can't remember the exact price, but it came out to something like $5 or $6 a book.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this year, it's I want to say freaking $10 a book or something like that.
Wow.
I mean, the prices are so high, especially because I'm only printing a couple hundred at a time, That being said, my printer is great. I love them. I use Kness, which is in Texas. They, because like Tyler said, it's not like just printing, saving a freaking TIFF and you can send that to the printer. Kness, on the other hand, I literally send him, if there's 60 pages, I send him 60 Photoshop PDF pages, and he, from the freaking goodness of his heart, puts it together for me. I love him, and he actually is the guy I work with. His name is Ken, and he's just very careful, and he really cares. And I cannot recommend them more. They don't even have a social media presence. They could care less. I discovered them because I backed this book called Headlopper on Kickstarter years ago.
Yeah.
And when I received the book, I thought the quality was so good. And I met, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. I met him at a convention one time. I was just like, hey, dude, where do you get these books printed? And he's like, oh, you got to use Kness. They're so good. So I got in touch with Kness through him. And I have never looked back. They are the best. And I've used them for every single book I make now.
Oh.
Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
Oh, that's cool. I'll look them up. Can you spell that out so fast?
Kness. Tyler, I'll text you his email and all that later if you want.
Yeah, I'll check them out for sure.
But to make it, so basically my books though, the Dim Sum Gang books, I mean, I'm barely making any money off them because I refuse to change the cover price, which is really stupid of me.
But, I mean, that affects price too, the price points that people just won't go it over, and that's where you get hemmed in a little bit as publishers or creators, is your prices go up, but people will still look at something that's over, X amount, depending on whether you're talking about a trade paperback or whatever. But I mean, that'll affect how many people buy it.
Yeah.
And then you're right back to having too many copies because nobody's buying a $27 book or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
What is the cover price on the Dim Sum book?
Shit, I don't even remember. I think it's $12 or $15.
Shit, so you're only making
Yeah, so I mean, I'm only printed 300 of them. I'm clearly not doing it for the money. It's just to help get it out there. And the truth is, I used the giveaway to some other outlets. So Bernard, you're a little aware. Me and Parrot are talking with a couple people about doing some other things with it. So the book for me is really just to have it and to make sure it's out there. Professor Raka, sorry, let me put the name of the printer in the chat. Let me see if they have a website. I think they do.
Man, I'm finding all this reference on the Akira bike that I didn't see last time. And I guess these were the original drawings. So
I don't know if anybody cares, but U.S. lost to Japan in the World Baseball Classic.
wow.
That was Shohei pitch.
Shohei struck out Mike Trout to end the game.
Wow. Did he hit
He
a home
got
run?
saved. 3-2. No, Shohei didn't. But he pitched the last inning and, yeah.
Wow.
Struck out Mike Trout as the last hitter.
Future Met Shohei Ohtani.
Hopefully.
That's still. I didn't even know the World Baseball Classic is still going on.
Well, not any, now it's over. But
When does the baseball season start?
was it March 30th? Is that
Yeah.
Fletch?
Next Wednesday or Thursday is opening day.
So we got any more questions for Tyler? Anyone? A new one?
Should I do the apocalypse drawing?
Yes, Apocalypse is the topic for Ball's sketches.
Yeah, maybe do it later. I still have to do
So
the
have you
Kang.
guys ever heard of somebody who's starting off in comics and just kind of wants to it's always one of those things where you thinking a business mindset, give something for free for them to try, them get interested, and then kind of do people get offers that way from for anybody to go ahead and publish their work? If it first starts out online and it gains traction and then they kind of end up with being published through somebody that kind of picks them up. Is that something that kind of happens? It's kind of roundabout. But, okay.
I've been seeing a good amount of like Kickstarter books or books that have come out that all of a sudden a publisher is now putting out, and it's like, I bought that book 2 years ago, and then it's like publisher is now soliciting it, like, order the #1 issue of this series, blah blah blah. So that happens for sure. If you're making something, I mean, if something exists, it's going to be so much easier for someone to make the decision of whether they want to publish it rather than whether it's on spec, or just a pitch. So yeah, that's definitely valid.
I'm just wondering if that gives any leverage to the artist and writer or the group of people that are doing this, because to take work that a comic that you already made, that you're like, here, this is it, and show it to different people who can publish it, then they might be like, oh, I might be interested, or we might move forward with this. Or if you get this traction and people are very interested already online and getting a following, and then the offers look better and more tempting, I guess. This whole everything with social media now, and artists becoming more popular on Instagram, and it's I'm just thinking about how that's really going to change, since I'm sure artists have already been picked up from Instagram, too. So I guess I'm just interested in the kind of the different ways of how, you know, how to kind of end up publishing your own comic book, and that probably being one of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different ways, and especially with paper prices increasing as you were saying, like if you're publishing like digitally, whether a web comic or on any of these avenues, and just getting it out, even if it's just Instagram stuff. Um, yeah, yeah, I think that's the more that you're actually doing it versus just sort of like practicing it or just
Mhm.
sort of doing it, I think the better. I mean, these publishers, the easier you can make the decision for them, right? If you've already got a
Absolutely.
comic book, you've already got a fan base, that's easy decision. If you've
Yep.
already got a comic book, even if the fan base isn't that big, at least they can make a decision off of that. If you're doing actual pages of it as opposed to just sort of pinups or pretty drawings, you know,
Hmm.
so you can look at it like that way. The less complicated you make, or the less risky you make the decision of whether to publish it, the easier it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've asked, I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I've talked about this with a few other guys, and I've gotten varying answers on this topic. Because to me, I was always under the pretense like, just finish the fucking book, make it as simple a decision for whoever is deciding if they want this or not as humanly possible. If I just hand them the finished book, easy peasy, right? Do they like it? Yes or no? But what I have been told by people I really do trust is that is a waste of my time. So this is where it's a kind of a very confusing answer, though. You have to create a couple books first so that they trust that you can finish a book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then after whoever is looking at believes that you're not just some flake that's gonna disappear after you agree to get it done.
Yep.
Actually, I've been told to just come up with the actual quote unquote formal pitch, which can consist of like 5 pages, maybe a cover, but then it's the synopsis, the character bios, and like the whole pitch, basically, like the whole why.
But
The who,
Jerry,
what,
you
where,
have
when, why.
more pull now. You've published things before, so I think that might be
I don't know how
that's
much
definitely
pull I
probably
have.
well, it's you've published things, on your own. You've creative stories. You are a creator, versus somebody who's coming out new. But you know, I probably wouldn't finish anything. I think it's definitely like a teaser. You want them to be interested in like one 30-page, get them interested, and unless you're kind of doing on your own, and then be like, yeah, I'm gonna, this is what I'm gonna move forward with. But I feel like having something super complete, would make up their mind if they really like it or not too. Might come back and bite you in the butt.
I think Jerry,
Gotta tease them, Jerry.
that's advice from people that have been published before, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I
and,
don't
and
think so.
these guys are, I don't, I would say like pretty respected within their field. They're not just like a fly by night kind of guy,
So I think that
There's more than one of them too.
yeah. So I think that makes a lot of sense, because if you've first of all, it's all prefaced under the concept, the notion that you have established yourself as a professional, a reliable professional, with a portfolio of work. So a lot of this is to build trust and confidence in the publishers, the people that are going to buy your project. And after you've already established yourself, at that point, I don't really think it's necessary to do an entire book. It probably serves you better to, in that amount of time, to do an entire, let's say, 20-page book, to do 4 or 5-page stories, or if that makes any sense. That way you have more numbers game. You have more options out there. Because some of the initial, and Tyler can come in here and chime in on this as well, but I would think that the initial hesitancy with a publisher is this guy reliable? Are they going to be able to finish on time and maintain the same level of quality of work throughout?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I think what the comment of waste of time meant was like, that might not be the project that they want. And so if you were doing it just in hopes of it getting picked up and you do all this work and it's not a good fit anywhere, then yeah, you wasted your time. But if you're doing something that you wanted to put out regardless, you know, and that's where like the earlier stuff comes in. You're doing it yourself to see it through fruition and just to get it out there, to finish it and to put it out there. That shows that you can stick with this and you're going to keep doing it even when it gets tough. And it's not just, I just have this dream and I'm going to do these couple of pages. Like, and that's when the couple of pages isn't enough and nobody's ever done anything again. And it's easy to write, you know, a 2-page synopsis and have a couple character designs. It doesn't mean that, you know, come issue 6 or even 3 or 4, they're not going to like burn out or disappear or something. So it's really just 2 different questions. Like you have to answer the reliability, consistency one, and then you have to have the project that's right for them. So yeah, if you've shown the track record, and here's my book that I self-published, but now I have this really cool idea, and here's a very fleshed out, you know, or 3 different options. Which one do you like, kind of thing? And you know, publisher can be like, oh yeah, I was really looking for something along this lines, and that's one of them, and they choose that one. That's a great way to go about it.
Yeah, I tend to agree more with Tyler's way of thinking, although I was straight up scolded for wanting to finish my book first. But I believe that, and not that my answer is correct. It's just my approach. Whatever I do, I'm going to want to finish it regardless. And you know, I do believe you have to do it for yourself first, however that's worth to anyone.
Well, I prefer working with people who've done it too, because yeah, these people have never had to do the, you know, work through the grind, and they don't quite get how tough it is, and they have unrealistic expectations, and I hate having to be the person that like
puts them in their place.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I don't want to tell somebody that they're just a new artist and nobody knows who they are and they're not going to sell like, you know, somebody who's been in the business for a long time, because that's just the way that it is. You know, I mean, you know, names, you know, people like, it can be frustrating because names really sell. I mean, when you talk to a comic book store or whatever, it's like, if you're a big name in the industry, your comic book is going to sell. If you're not a big name, you know, it's just the luck of the draw. Like, it's such a different game, and that gets frustrating, but it's also just based off of that proven, you know, track record, whether we're talking about just finishing something or actual sales. You know, publishers, stores want to see that, like, oh, this person can sell a book, you know, and I'll order it. Again, it's just they don't want that guessing game. They don't want to be the one to forge that path for you. So they're always going to go with the proven commodity.
Bernard, it looks like, are you actually going to be drawing Apocalypse now?
I guess. How much time? We've been on an hour and a half.
This makes sense. It's how can you have preset goals to reach for growth, such as if you achieve X goal, then you proceed to do Y. I'm just reading Dr. Midnight's question here. If you want me to try to answer that. I definitely use markers of success for how something does and try to analyze that. Yeah, you have to make leap of faith sometime too, and just sort of go for something and be committed to, like, okay, even if sales aren't great, you know, keep going, because some of it is just consistency too. Like, you don't want to be changing course over and over again, you know, and I've definitely done that. And left retailers guessing, and which is no good. But I mean, you've got to do it sometimes because you're like, this just is not freaking selling, or this is not working. So to keep doing it would be crazy. Um, so it's just a balance between making adjustments based off of what you see the market doing and what's actually selling. Sometimes something will seem so popular, like on social media, like that's the way to do it. But then you look at the numbers and you crunch the numbers, and it's like, no, it really doesn't. Not on the ground level. It doesn't really sell. Like it just makes for a good post or viral like thread or whatever, but it's not really what drives people into the shop every week.
What is Tyler? What's your favorite comic book out there right now these days? Do you have a favorite comic book that's out?
Um, see, what am I reading right now? I'm not, I mean, I'm not great. I'm not like a super, I do try to make it to the comic shop, um, and get something, but a lot of times like, I'll just get like the trade paperbacks.
The correct answer is Monkey Prince, but
What's that?
the correct answer was Monkey Prince, but that's okay.
Is it, who's working on that? Do I have to go track that down?
No.
Bernard is.
Sorry, I didn't do my research.
Do you also
What-
do you have any
what-
thoughts
what-
on? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Do you also have any thoughts on NFTs?
I it just doesn't appeal to me. I can tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
I've stayed away from them. I don't do that at all, and I don't really doesn't appeal to me. I don't really see how. It just seemed like it was a money-making scheme for a little while, and certainly made some people some money and some people not so much. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's sort of like that and like Bitcoin and things like that. Like, I don't know. I mean, if it works out, if somebody wants to get into it, they probably know more than I do, but I'm just sort of staying away.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Oh.
I'll be right back. I gotta wash my hand and my brushes that I just used for painting. I'll be right back, guys.
All right.
I see.
How are you feeling, Bernard?
I'm getting a little bit. I'm getting like some chills.
Hey, if you're feeling bad, don't push yourself.
I'm getting some chills.
Do you take anything for it?
No, they said there's no medicine you can take for it. Yo, Jimbo, I have the norovirus. I think.
You have the virus, do sure.
You can take something for upset stomach, though.
Really?
And if you have any fevers, yeah. Some Pepto-Bismol, stuff like that.
Well, I have like the chills, and then I have like the stomach growls right now. I haven't had a dookie since this afternoon. But I guess that's okay.
Stay hydrated, though. You don't want to be dehydrated.
Oh yeah.
Hey, speaking of Monkey King, last issue came out last week, right?
Yes, Monkey Prince.
Sorry, Monkey Prince.
You're fired.
How does it feel?
It feels.
Moving on to the next project?
I have another project in the works right now. I cannot discuss the details of it, but it should be exciting. I'm going to be working with another kind of type of bucket list writer. This is a writer that I grew up reading her comics. That gives you a hint.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very influential in terms of she wrote a lot of the comics I read when I was a kid. And
So it's not Jenna.
It's not Jenna Jameson. I don't want to say anything that would get me in trouble that would relate to Jenna Jameson. Jeremy Joe, thank you for resubbing 19 months. But it is, it should be a very exciting project and a miniseries project. So I'm really looking forward to it. And then WonderCon. What Fletch? What do we expect from WonderCon this year? Anything going?
Our mutual friend Eddie says that he likes the guest list this year. It's been the best list in a while.
Really?
So pretty excited about that.
Okay.
He's usually a good indicator of how people can respond.
Yeah.
And last couple of years, of course, with the coronavirus and that's affected attendance. But hoping for a good turn.
Last year was pretty busy, wasn't it?
Pretty what? Busy?
Yeah. Wasn't it pretty busy last year or no?
It was busy, but not as busy as I've seen it in the past. And you got to remember that was the first WonderCon that since the virus, since the shutdowns.
I'm curious as to how the sales will be.
Yeah.
With the looming recession. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you kind of see it now, right? During the lockdowns and everything, a lot of the sales had reached record numbers as far as people buying from home and delivery, all that stuff. But in person, we'll see how that's. If people are going to be holding back from spending more with the potential recession now for the last year. But I think I saw a lot of people spending money too, still at the New York Comic Con and Artist Alley and some of the retailers upstairs in the main show floor. So there's still a lot of interest there. It was one of the largest crowds for New York Comic Con.
New York was extremely busy. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I hate to butt in, but I'm going to be taking up as well as Tyler.
Okay.
So I just want to thank Tyler.
Tyler, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us your journey as a independent publisher and comic book artist and writer. We put out his link again, a wave blue world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was fun. It was fun to be on. Great to talk comics and hang out for a bit. So
aww.com.
awbw.com. Yeah.
The name's a little crazy, but at least the URL is kind of simple.
We hope to run into you at a show.
Holidays, everyone.
Yeah,
Great catch up, Tyler.
Yeah, great catch up to you. See you around.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I feel like finishing this drawing. My stomach.
Dude, you're sick. Yeah,
my stomach is rattling.
Yeah. It's all good.
Go to bed, especially if you're getting chills right now. It's only going to get worse.
This was supposed to be a quick show today, remember?
I know. That's what I always say. I think I should, at one time I should say, this is going to be a really long show, and then maybe that'll be...
Yeah, you're sick, brother. Don't get some rest. You gotta drink up some fluids and make sure you get your rest.
We have a mixer maybe to go to tomorrow. I don't know. You're not going?
I'm leaning towards it, yeah, because I have too much shit to do. Excuse me, too much stuff to do tomorrow. I have to get to WonderCon early on Thursday morning for meetings.
Oh,
so
right. Okay. Yeah. I'll be down there Saturday. I'm not going down Friday.
Right.
And then Saturday and then Sunday.
Saturday, if Bernard gets me a ticket.
Yeah, I got you a pass already.
You did? You didn't tell me.
I told you. I gave you a thumbs up.
I don't know what that means.
Thumbs up is okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Awesome.
probably gonna make it. If not, I might have to go to a funeral. But I'm pretty sure.
But Saturday, yeah. So I don't know what time I'll get there, but I'll try to get there early.
Yeah.
I always say that, but
Yeah. I just on Saturday, 2 to 3. I'm working with the Toei Animation Group. They have a live action Knights of the Zodiac Saint Seiya live
Ooh.
coming out, so they're promoting that. There's a panel on Friday, 3 to 4, and then a signing 4:30 to 5:30. I think if you're going to WonderCon, you gotta sign up for the lottery to get a ticket for that signing.
who's going to be there?
We have Famke Janssen's going to be there.
Ooh.
Madison, Mark Dacascos from John Wick 3 and Iron Chef USA. Nick Stahl and Diego Tinoco.
Oh.
Nick Stahl's from Theater, I think. And Diego was on Teen Wolf and a couple other things.
Hey,
Really
Fletch,
nice.
how many computers do you have on in your home, hooked up to the internet?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I got my everything. My cable. My Apple TV, my laptop, my phone.
You know what I think might be creating the jitter in your Wi-Fi is you might have one or two too many devices connected. That's causing the jitter in the audio.
The voice.
Yeah, because that's last week I had the whole jitter or robotic thing, right, Courtney? And
Yeah, and then he would just cut. I think it was like cutting out too, so that's kind of the problem.
yeah, and even when I was on my phone using WhatsApp calling, that was a problem. And I realized that I had my third computer on. And even though it was asleep, I don't know what was wrong with the third computer. It seemed to be cutting into the feed. So I basically just turned that computer off. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I had the World Baseball Classic playing on mute in the background. So that was.
Or get a better internet provider.
Spectrum.
Stop.
Best I could get.
Stop stealing your neighbor's internet.
I had no problems with Spectrum.
Yeah.
That's mine too. I have Spectrum. It goes, here's the other thing with Spectrum is like sometimes the cable's out, right? It's out usually like at least once a week sometimes because there's a lot of development going on in this area. I'm like, I should get a credit for the amount of time that it's out, right?
You should.
Because I'm paying for it
Definitely.
when I'm not watching it. If I'm not watching TV or if I'm not using the internet, I'm still paying for it. So if it's
I used
out,
to have to call and complain.
yeah, okay. Anybody here on stream work at Spectrum?
That sounds like a terrible place to work.
Any other questions on chat? I think I can almost finish this headshot. Let me finish this headshot.
You should
Sure.
get some rest, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. That's not going to be a coffee watercolor. That's going to be a doo-doo watercolor.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh. I was so afraid it was going to be COVID. Oh,
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
I
Yeah.
was hanging out with some on last Friday, who had COVID. They told me on Monday, I'm like, oh crap, that they contracted it, but no, thank God.
Ugh.
That's good.
Yeah. But what about the bumps?
On my testicles?
The red bumps, yeah. What about those?
I got that from you.
Oh.
You got it from your hands. You got those hands.
Maybe that's where the feces accidentally went in my mouth, according to the CDC.
It's the chafing.
I mean, how can they say accidentally? Did you guys see that the description for
The novel virus.
novo virus?
Look, they're all scientists and doctors. They don't know how to get freaky. They don't know what's happening.
That's the CDC.
Yeah, they don't know what kids are doing these days.
Yeah.
They don't subscribe to that Shizer stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
How do you get the novel virus?
It's all accidental.
It's an accidental. Look at this. You can get novovirus by accidentally getting tiny particles of feces or vomit from an infected person in your mouth. My other question, I don't know if anybody in chat knows, if that's the case, how do you get it from? It says you can also get it from someone that's already infected. And what is that? Can you get that through like spit particles or like saliva?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I would think so.
Or is it only through poop and vomit? Like, is saliva?
It has to be through.
Maybe
what?
that has poop and vomit in it.
Nico S. Blue. Like, I mean, so I wore a mask. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to wear a mask when I go out right now as to not spread novovirus
Right.
to someone else.
Right.
But
Man, this conversation is really shitty.
yeah, or is it like pee? Can you get it from pee?
Nah, pee's pretty. It's actually pretty sanitary. So.
Right, because it has ammonia in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think it's because it's a stomach virus. Is like affects your stomach and your digestive tract. Then that's probably where it is. There's actually a lot more poop particles around us than we even really know. We're constantly surrounded by poop particles.
Oh.
So that's why we gotta wash our hands and stuff. But
how long does it take for the virus to take effect?
it can be pretty quickly. It's kind of like food poisoning in a way. Like you can eat something and then like 30 minutes later it can affect you. I would think it would be pretty swift. It wouldn't be like a week later.
Because I went to a buffet Friday night.
Oh, it's 100% buffet. You
Yeah, but it was Friday
didn't do
night,
that for buffet.
and I'm getting
know,
it
but-
Monday night.
Was there a lot of shit on the menu?
There was.
I got food poisoning from a buffet. That was really bad.
So
I'm pretty sure like homeless people put their hands in it. It was Whole Foods.
is the norovirus food poisoning?
No, that is different. But it was
Poopy hand
it came on
tongs.
very
Yeah.
quickly.
It could be poopy hand tongs, right? Because people, share the tongs. So I thought
Yeah.
about that, right? Like, okay, it's probably, that's like number one, but does it take 4 days before it sets in, or?
I wouldn't think so. Wait. So you went play? When did you play basketball?
I played Saturday night, and Monday night. Okay, symptoms
Did it-
usually begin 1 to 2
After that?
days.
Did it-
Symptoms begin 1 or 2 days after ingesting the virus, but may appear as early as 12 hours after exposure.
Did anybody on the team still come down with any?
Everybody was
sickness or-
playing shitty. Maybe we shouldn't have had that halftime makeout session.
Nah.
What requires a team, man?
You shouldn't practice those drills in human centipede form. That's not good.
Thank you, Nico SS Blue. Nico SS Blue came into the chat, and we're talking about poop now.
Oh. What a hardcore thing.
Poopy handling. Yeah, man, it was really shitty because we were playing a really good team and we were down by like 12 points, and we came back and tied it up. But then we lost, and then we had to eat shit afterwards.
Oh,
Wait, maybe it could be Saturday night. I went to In-N-Out Saturday night. So
In and out of what?
it could be. You know those fast food places. It's like I
Well,
don't
those
know.
guys are usually very good though. They always have the gloves and the mask. And,
Yeah, but it's always these teenagers that are making your food that I get suspect with. You know.
maybe somebody's pimple popped or something, and they picked it and put it in your food.
Shit. I'm just wondering where I got it from.
I think it could be anything. I mean, it's so easy to catch. So
Yeah.
you live in downtown LA, you could have stepped in something. It's probably
Well,
like
that's the other thing too.
on the
Yeah, if you walk around downtown LA, there's so much dog shit in the streets and the sidewalks.
only dog.
But yeah, it's also other like human feces that, it's just disgusting.
Well, the homeless problem, yeah.
So I shouldn't lick my shoes afterwards, Lurky. It's
I know you like to
it's
keep
a
them
habit,
clean, but
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to I'm trying to use less water.
Man, you are really into the shoe culture.
No pun intended with the culture. Is that what you're saying there?
Pun definitely intended.
Pun. Oh. Fletcher.
All right, call it quits.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. What can I give away? Can I give away something? I like to give away stuff, but then mailing it is the other problem.
Yeah. Do you have the monkey prince?
Oh shit! Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Is it a runaway?
I don't know. I'm afraid to check.
Are you making track?
What does it feel like?
Oh, it's wet.
It's wet.
It could just be
don't
wet
think-
from sweat though.
Oh, okay. It's not bubble.
I don't know about that.
Hey, you people on the chat, you guys are in for a treat.
Sean says growth, like he didn't live with this man.
All right.
I think,
I'm fine. It's false alarm.
Okay.
Yeah,
for the ghost shark.
my stomach
I'm
is
bringing you
growling.
adult diapers to WonderCon. Just they'll work out.
Okay. Let's get out of here. This is my apocalypse drawing.
All right, brother. All right, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Everyone.
See you
Wash
at
your hands.
WonderCon if you come out.
Don't spread the virus.
Oh.
Come out. If you have a chance, come out to the panels. Okay, and come see Bernard and Courtney on Saturday. Sunday.
Artist Alley B5.
Double B.
Is it double B or just B? Regular B.
What? Oh, if you had BB-8, that'd be Star Wars, but
I know, BB5.
Really?
If it's the same table, it's the one right in front of a damn column.
No.
Wash those hands. Yeah, don't shake hands. Well, don't shake my hand.
Well, don't kiss him either. No tongue.
Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
See you next week. Oh.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Oh wait, let's rate somebody. Let's rate somebody.
Jenna Jameson.
Let's rate
right?
somebody. Who can we rate? Ooh, Casino Quest Live.
Casino Quest Live?
Yeah, Casino Quest Live.
Is that a gambler?
Those guys are funny. Yeah, there's Gambling Network.
Oh, what?
They do virtual gambling, so there's these virtual casinos, and then it's real money, but then they play all these different games. It's fun.
How is that not illegal?
It's like a big part of Twitch, like this gambling stuff. Poker.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds illegal.
I mean, it's it's just as illegal as like hot tubs.
No,
Right.
but certain gambling is legal unless you're in a certain state like Nevada.
Online gambling. Yeah, this is a show based out of Nevada.
Oh, okay. So I thought people were like across everywhere and they were gambling online from
No,
wherever.
no, no, no. I mean, the casino I think is overseas in Europe somewhere in Eastern Europe,
Oh.
and somewhere in shady Eastern Europe. But the channel is streaming out of Vegas.
Oh,
So they run like a gambling school where you can learn to be like a poker dealer or a blackjack dealer, or learn how to play
Oh, that's
craps.
cool.
Yeah. So okay, all right. See you guys. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Hi, everyone.
Ready?
All right. Thanks, guys.
You feel you feeling better than before, or just still the same crap?
On and off.
Yeah.
On and off, cause like right now.
Wait, did that work? Are you looking on Twitch? Were you able to